Greetings and salutations. I am 16-bit Scotty, your master of ceremonies. Some might even say the game master for tonight's session of Dice Dorks in Danger. Tonight, I am being accompanied, we'll say, by some of the most wonderful players that you will ever find on the internets. We will start with the player playing Richard. How about you introduce yourself?
Hello, I am Richard. I am the captain of the ship. And oh boy.
That good, huh?
Yeah.
Nice. Alrighty then we will drop down to player playing Zobras. Introduce yourself.
I'm in Bones. I will be playing Zobras, Mandalorian Sharpshooter, and whatever else Richard.
Alrighty then we'll jump over to Crom. Introduce yourself, please.
I am Gleese. I'll be playing Crumb, your happily angriest Wookiee for the evening.
The happiest angry Wookiee. Happy list.
Happy and
Happy
angry.
list. Okay. Yes, and then Adamox, who is normally played by Ginger Ninja, will not be joining us this evening. And I would like to take just a quick little moment to say that if you watched last week, the special Dice Dorks and One Shots, thank you, Tim, for running that. It was actually a lot of fun to watch, and I actually got to participate in playing some, which was fun. Now, having gotten all of that out of the way, let's kind of do a slight little recap. Okay. At the very beginning of all this chaos, you were sent to go pick up some rebel cargo. That didn't go too well. You got caught. You got sent to a Black Sun, essentially prison planet, where you were forced to fight to survive. And thankfully, you were snatched up by your mechanic, Jada, who essentially had recruited, paid, purchased Nina Sato and a bunch of her allies to help the crew of the DP-28, and you guys had pretty much gotten off that planet. A little bit of fighting kind of ensued, not just in space, but once you guys kind of made that jump, you had a little bit of problems and issue with someone on Nina's ship named Ayasato, who was kind of drunk. Noticed a kid that you guys had picked up on that planet, whose name is Zagar. Noticed he was carrying essentially a lightsaber and threatened him, and nobody liked that. She kind of more or less got jumped by the entirety of the crew and then got knocked out. You guys had jumped back to Corbin Deltas, where you went to your employer, Bipto, at Homestar Logistics, and found out, hey, during that space combat, the DP-28, your ship, Richard, got tagged with a tracker. So very quickly you said, need to get a job, need to get out of here. So that is the very quick, condensed version of everything up to this point. If you want to watch any of this stuff, we do have the VODs up on the YouTubes. Now, you guys went out, purchased a few things, and then basically kind of going back to reconvene on the ship. Richard had kind of given a 24-hour time frame, do what you need to do, and all the kind of fun stuff. Everybody had purchased stuff to fix their armors, weapons, things of that nature. We're actually going to kind of start out tonight with a kind of, you can imagine like the camera pointing at a cell where there's a Aya, and she's kind of sitting on a bed, and she's behind a energy shield that's kind of a bluish whitish color, and she's basically got like a little ball that she's bouncing off the floor, off the wall, off the ceiling, and then catching it. Just and as she's kind of just sitting there monotonously doing this, Nina walks up, has her arms kind of crossed, her head down, and she says, what were you thinking? Not missing a beat, still bouncing that ball, just goes, I was drunk, and I'm sorry. Nina shakes her head. She goes, you can't blame this on being drunk. You weren't that drunk. I've seen you worse. She goes, yeah, I know. And Nina says, well, what were you thinking? And then the ball bouncing stops as she catches it, and she looks and she goes, honestly, she goes, that kid, the kid reminded me a lot of the dude that killed our parents. And then Nina just kind of shakes her head. She goes, there's a big difference. She goes, that was a kid. And whoever killed mom and dad, clearly older than what that kid is. Same species, same race, but they're different. And I just kind of shakes her head or nods her head and she says, oh, I know. But I saw him and I lashed out. And then Nina sighs and says, look, I've done everything I can for you, but we have to, you need to make some decisions. Aya stands up off the bed, walks over and says, I need to make decisions. What does that mean? Nina nods her head and she goes, I love you. You're my sister. And I will never stop loving you. But I can't have you on my crew if you're going to just do this randomly anytime you feel like it. Something's got to give. And I don't know what it is, but you need to decide if you want to stay with the crew, straighten yourself up, or just go out on your own. I just kind of looks at her, nods her head. She goes, yeah, I can see where you're coming from. And Nina walks over to a panel that is on a post away from the door, deactivates the energy field. And she says, you don't have to make a decision right now, but this is just something you need to think about. She goes, you could have gotten me, yourself, or even our baby sister killed. And I goes, yeah, I know. And Nina just goes, come on, let's go. And a screen swipe to where it is now 24 hours later, and everybody has reconvened and they're pretty much near and on the ship. So we will take it from there. What does everybody want to do?
So where was the place that we were picking everything up from?
You were picking everything up essentially. Well, it depends. Picking up the spice, if you were wanting to do that, you're actually going to have to travel to Mojo the Hut. Essentially, more or less, you have done this a few different times. You basically have a special code that you're going to go pick up, send, and all that stuff, and they'll basically give you the spice that you need. They basically keep a record of people that essentially order stuff, and then basically who's going to be delivering the spice, and like every information they need, they have. Now, as to the food, drink, cleaning mechanisms, and like for the refreshers and all that stuff, that's actually going to be delivered to the ship. It's part of something Homestar Logistics does. They basically have people that are going to be on speeders to go get, bring, and everything else. So that stuff's pretty much all done already.
All right.
Yeah, like I said, but you're going to have to go pick up the spice and then kind of go off.
So I would like to navigate to Mojo the Hut's place.
All right. So we aren't going to worry about any rolls right now. You've made this trek a lot. You know the planet pretty well. You basically kind of get everything loaded up. It takes the time to make sure everything's strapped down, all that kind of fun stuff. You were going to go and you head kind of like a southwest direction. Actually, where if you recall in the last game session when I described the planet, there's like this big desert area. That's actually where Mojo the Hut is. Now, the spice, it's of itself is a kind of a unique spice. Most of the spice in this universe comes from a living organism somehow, some way, and it has to be mined from that living organism. And then they basically have to kind of process it, and there's a whole big to do. This actually comes from a plant. So they basically, more or less, the best I can describe would be a kind of like rice. That's basically the way they are. They come in like these little green forms. And to best of your knowledge, this is something very specific to Corbin Deltas due to the soil and I guess just the plant life that I guess goes on this planet. You would also kind of know that it's something the Hutts have been able to corner the market on. So as you guys are kind of flying, I will also say that the kid has joined you. The other dude, he dipped. The kid, while you guys did your shopping stuff, he actually did a little bit of shopping on his own. And he bought a vibro sword. And he now also has a heavy blaster pistol. Well, what looks like a heavy blaster pistol, we'll say.
Okay.
So that's all that information. Now, as you get closer to Mojo the Hutt, you are going to be pinged, and they're going to tell you straight up. You're not going to have a chance to talk. They're going to tell you and give you the landing coordinates. They're going to tell you that Ranex's shipment will be there. And basically kind of like, you know, what was it? Ranex has already paid. There is no need to exchange any credits or anything like that.
All right.
So, let us see. You are going to land, and when you get down, basically off of the ramp, it's not a large crate. You roughly know that this is about 10 to 20,000. There's not 1,000. Yeah, 10 to 20,000 credits worth of spice, but it's only a few feet wide, a few feet tall, something that can easily fit into a backpack. You basically kind of walk up. There are armed guards everywhere around here, and there's one person that basically walks up to you, hands you the crate, and then nods his head and says, "Good luck."
Thank you.
So
Pleasure doing business.
he nods his head and he says, "Hopefully we can do more business in the future. Just don't get caught." Pretty valuable stuff you got there.
Yeah.
All right. So,
So
go ahead.
I would go out and accept that solo, correct?
Yes. Bringing other
Okay.
people along is usually frowned upon.
Yeah. So I'll have a backpack and I'll fit it in there.
Okay.
And then when I get back in, I will hide it on the ship.
Okay. I know exactly where you're going to hide it.
Yes. Thank you.
All right. So, once you kind of do all this fun stuff, and while you're doing all this kind of fun stuff, is there anything else anybody wants to do?
At the moment, I can't really think of anything
Yeah.
that needs to be done.
Yeah, you guys
Armor.
know, he says that he's made this, he's gone here before. He's always kind of told you guys, wait here, I'll be right back. He's always taken a backpack. He's always gone with an empty backpack, comes up with a full backpack. But he tells you nothing. And that's pretty much all the information that your characters would know.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna wait for him. I'm assuming we're just waiting for him.
Okay.
Game Master.
Sure. Yep.
I would assume while we were en route,
Mhm.
because I never actually made my armor repair roll.
Yep.
13.
Okay.
That reminds me. Is my armor fixed?
Nope. You have to
No.
have
You
Jada
gotta-
do it, or you have to do it, or you can
Okay.
let Zoe do it, or you can let Richard do it.
I've got
I'd
3 in
rather
armor
trust
repair.
Jada.
You're gonna give it to Jada.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'd rather trust Jada. I don't trust Zoe.
Okay.
Ouch.
All right. Fair enough. So, alrighty then. So yeah, you're basically kind of kicking back in the rec area, like eating, maybe playing some what was it? Did Jark, like their chess game. The kid will kind of be maybe playing the game with you. He's not the world's best at it. He's definitely a noob. He's never seen the game before. But he's very eager and willing to try to learn. And then Zoe was working on and got 13. Okay. So, are you going to be working on your armor or the helmet with that roll? Since you didn't tell me.
Let's go with the armor.
Okay. Alrighty then. So let me double check because I believe you should have some positive results, if I'm not mistaken, with the 13. Those of you that may be watching that can actually remember this stuff off the top of your head because you still might play the game. If you know, let me know. Just because I'm curious. Oh, that's not the right chart. Table 15. Yep. All right. So it is not completely fixed, but with that check, you have a +2 to your physical, and then you gain back your +2 to your energy.
All right. And as far as the helmet goes, that was a ding. I don't think you told me the mess up on the helmet.
No, the mess up on the helmet, it's not by really much. That one, easier or moderate check will probably end up fixing that one.
All right.
A little spit shine.
Pretty much. You basically got to get like a little suction cup, pop it out. So, if you want to fix the helmet, go ahead and give me a quick armor repair check.
Armor repair. On helmet.
Money. All right. So while you doing sorting and figuring that out, oh, I heard dice. Number. Did you get in that one?
Yep.
Fantastic. Okay. We'll deal with that one later. Okay. So this is going to be essentially what you're doing for a big bulk of time. And I will let you know how the helmet turns out. Okay. So, Richard, you get back. Everybody's kind of doing their thing. You stow the stuff away. You go ahead and you are going to take the ship in Atmo, start heading into space. I do require an astrogation check in order to make sure that you can kind of get to where you're wanting to go and not screw something up.
11.
11? All right. Yep. You are able to get the calculations. The route is updated, and it's something that you've had in your nav computer, so you didn't have to do the calculations completely from scratch. So pretty quick calculation you pretty much can do while you're heading into space. Not long after you get into space, you pull back on the lever, poof, you jump. Alrighty then.
Thank God for the 6 on the wild die.
Right?
Because I rolled 2 ones.
Nice. Alrighty then. So we're going to say it is going to take about a day's travel. And you're going to be getting about halfway through. So you got about 12 hours in. And Zoe, your armor pretty much is fixed. and you start on the helmet. As you're kind of working and kind of going with the helmet, basically it's kind of like a little suction cup thing that you put on there, kind of like what they use for cars. You boop. Well, as you're doing it, you're trying to figure out where you're gonna put it, and you're like, "Dadgum!" You like kind of put it between your legs. You're like, "This stupid dent won't come out," and you try to get a good hold on it and things that you're not really paying attention. But we're going with some old school Mandalorian stuff. I don't think it's this way in canon. I could be wrong. But on the inside of their helmets, often have these switches that are referred to as tongue switches because you take your tongue and then click the switch. Operates your jetpack, operates certain functions. So as you're kind of going and doing, you're trying to be very mindful about not touching those. But as you're kind of going, you suddenly kind of stop paying attention, and you're actually going to rip out the comm attachment in the helmet, and it just comes out, ping. So the helmet goes flying this way. You kind of stumble back, and you just got a handful of comm, basically. It is now going to take longer to fix.
Oh, you have got to be kidding me.
Now, as to Crom, about 12 hours later, Jada comes up, hands you your armor, and it looks good as new. I mean, you can't tell where you've been shot. She cleaned everything off. You're even looking on the inside. You can tell some of the newer parts and things that, because, it's not got the Wookiee sweat on it. But for the most part, it's pretty clean, seamless. She done good.
Did I hear the helmet go flying?
Yeah. We'll say it's kind of one of those things where you're just kind of like sitting wherever, and you just hear this, and then you hear Zoe screaming something that you cannot 100% understand, but you do hear her voice getting high.
Random Huddy's curse words.
Yeah,
I'm gonna just put my hand in my head, shake my head, and start walking over.
Okay.
When I get there, I'm just gonna look, see the helmet on one side, comms in her hand, and I'm gonna be like,
Yeah.
You might want to put that back in that helmet. And just shake my head, turn and walk away.
Yeah, it's not even like, it's not even just a clean. Yeah, it's not even just a clean rip. I mean, like part of the padding and stuff came out of the helmet. I mean, it's gonna be more of a pain to fix now.
Then I'm gonna turn and just look and go, ship insulation does not make good padding.
She's looking at you like, you can tell she's staring at you hard. Like, you can just tell.
Yeah. As I'm walking away, I can just feel the stare and the frustration.
Stare. All right. So, as you're kind of walking away, did you want to maybe check on Zagar? He wasn't in because I'm assuming from where the tokens are placed, Zoe opted to go into the opposite room. That's not crew quarters. And you know for a fact that the kid's not staying in the crew quarters, but he also wasn't in that room.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll go check on Zagar, see how he's doing.
Okay.
He's still playing the game with a Wookiee?
No, at this point in time, he's actually kind of gone off. And Crom, were you still kind of in the rec area, or were you somewhere else?
Yeah, I'm still in the rec area.
Okay. So, yeah. You guys can roleplay that out if you like.
So I'm gonna walk in there, look at Crom, and be like, last I checked, the kid was with you. Where's Zagar?
Oh, he was somewhere around here. And I just kind of gestured in the general direction I saw him that he last went.
He actually went back towards like the engine room.
Then I'll start making my way that way.
Okay.
I'm gonna follow behind him. Just
Sure. So as you guys kind of walk into the engine room, you can definitely see as you walk through the door to your left is essentially Jada's little room. She is got all kinds of different tables and tools and things that to work on various different types of armors, weapons, ship components, and things that. And she seems to be tinkering with something all her own. As you look to the right, further down where it gets, there is a small access door that actually is kind of a secondary entrance to the cargo hold. Over in that area, you actually see Zagar sitting on kind of like a little makeshift bench as you see him kind of tweaking and fine tuning something. Not hiding it, just kind of looking around, kind of every so often, just kind of going like this and going back to it.
So I'll look over and go, "What are you working on?"
He looks up at you and he says, "Well," he said, kind of got to thinking. He says, "If my weapon is going to alarm people as it has," he says, "I took it upon myself," he says, "to get this vibro sword," the lady called it, and I really liked how the handle looked. So I talked to Jada and I got a couple components. And check this out. He holds out kind of like this little what is it, like the old Tonto hard case kind of thing, like a sheath.
Yeah.
And he's like, check it. It kind of even matches my vibro sword. And he basically puts the lightsaber into that. And he's like, now it's hard to notice that I have a lightsaber.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, smart thinking, kid.
He's like, well, he says, I kind of thought so. He says, I have to admit, he goes, it's a lot harder to do this than I thought. He goes, but I mean, once I kind of broke into it, he's like, I kind of just had this second nature about me that I just kind of started realizing what I needed to do, he says.
Yeah, once you really get into something and you start looking at it, it just kind of falls into place.
He nods his head. He's like, yeah, just like that. All right,
Well,
so
if you need any help, let us know.
he says, no, he says, I'm just kind of tightening down a few things. He's like, I just got to wrap it. He's like, just to make sure. He says that everything kind of looks good. Hide a few different things, make sure a couple things fit. He goes, but yeah, no. Oh, I also got to test it, make sure I didn't screw it up.
That is a very important part. It's better to test
Yes.
things now than in combat.
He stops for a second, like, he goes to say something. He stops. He goes, well, I'm gonna wait till we're not on the ship, just in case. He says.
That's a good
Smart.
idea too.
Yeah.
Let's not cut a hole in the ship while we're in hyperspace.
It might be worse than that. He says. I don't have too much familiarity with these weapons. He says, but Master did explain a lot of things. He goes, if I am to understand what she told me, if I screw this up, he goes, it could either blow my hand off, or blow a big hole in the ship.
Wait until we're on a planet.
He's like, that's kind of what I was thinking. He says, just in case.
My eyebrow goes up as he's explaining this, like,
Like, oh no.
Oh no.
All right.
so if you did this wrong, it's a bomb.
He nods his head and says, yeah. He goes, but I'm pretty confident it's not.
I'd ask Jada to look it over before you test it.
He nods his head. He says, I could do that. She seems pretty smart about these types of things.
She is very good.
All right. So
And
as
I'm just gonna turn around and walk back to the cockpit,
all right.
just
So-
shaking my head, going, "Got a Mandalorian ripping comms out of helmets. A young Force user making potential bombs." Just gonna look over at Crom and go, "You're not potentially blowing anything up, are you?"
I have plans, but nothing gonna blow a hole in the ship.
Hopefully.
Do these plans involve the ship?
I mean, it involved helping the ship. Does that count?
As
I
long
think
as
so.
you don't blow a hole in it, that's fine.
I mean, I can't promise the thing won't go haywire, but I'll deal with it.
Just have Jada look it over and approve it.
Just gotta get the Jada stamp of approval. I can see it now. Like, what was it? I think they referred to it as Life Day for their version of Christmas. I see Richard had got her like one of those rubber stamps, so she's like, Jada approved.
No. It's better
had
than
to
that.
mute
It's like one
for
of those
that.
that they use for the checks, where they literally hand them a paper and it's just
A chunk.
Yep, yeah, I could totally
it's a
see that.
fancy stamp.
Yep. All right.
I just now imagine Jada in Papers, Please. Guys,
That would be funny, actually.
Game Master,
Yes.
let me know when enough time has come by that I could try that again.
I think enough time's kind of gone by. You can try it again.
Okay, so we've done this enough. Let's get it done right.
As she's trying to pep talk herself, she hears the kind of disembodied voice of Jada going, "For the love of everything holy, if Zoe needs anything fixed, let Jada do it. You've broken more things than you've fixed." What was the roll? I didn't even see.
Because I'm not done.
I'm
Let me
sorry.
check
Was that
the phone.
another? Was that another?
No,
Okay, no,
it's
it
not.
isn't. It isn't. Okay.
No.
All right.
They haven't stated the role, so
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
9.
9.
Good call.
Yeah, you were able to get the. Well, which one were you wanting to do? You wanting to try to get the dent out or put the comm back in?
Let's get the dent out first.
Okay. Yeah, after a while, you're able to kind of get it and it ends up popping out. You can kind of see where there's a little small ring around it. You'll have to kind of buff it out. That one will not require a check. It's just kind of you'll do that later. Where you want to try to fix your comm unit now?
So I was going to go to Jada on that one.
Okay. All right.
good girl.
All right.
It's like
So
she,
as I'm
she
walking
knows her
back, do
armor,
I see
but
Joe?
tech, that's a Jada thing.
Yeah. All right.
As I'm walking by, do I see Zoe go by?
I would imagine so because you said you're going
Yeah.
to the cockpit.
So I'm gonna see Zoe walk by. So, what is Zoe holding?
Roll play it out.
So-
What are you guys doing?
Well, for starters, her helmet's off. She's about to put it back on. Hi, Richard.
Hello. So, are you holding the comm unit?
Yes.
I'm just gonna look at you and go, Jada's in her room. As I just continue to walk back to the cockpit.
Nice. Nice.
So, okay. Zoe's going to go to Jada's room.
Yep. Yeah, as you kind of go walk in, like I kind of described before, you see the kid kind of over there tinkering around with something. Crom's still kind of standing there, maybe looking over, just kind of like interested, like, I've never actually seen this before, or it's been a long time, just kind of looking around, being curious. Jada's actually got one of her tables and kind of looks like she's working on droid parts, actually. Like it might be new attachments for Kit.
Okay. Did I catch you at a bad moment, Jada?
Jada looks over at you briefly and then kind of goes back to work. She says, no, this one is just trying to pass the time, she says.
You said Zagar was in the room.
Yeah, you guys have access to, and should be on the ship. Can't even think. Ship level. So Zagar will put, they're like over here. And you essentially are going to be like right here.
Right. Okay.
Whoop. So. But yeah, because like I said, it's, yeah. And you know that she has a door on this if you're that worried about it.
I would also imagine Adamox is either working on his armor or has already presented it to Jada.
I'm assuming he presented it to Jada. He thought about
Yeah.
Zoe, then he remembered the last time Zoe tried to do something and ended up ripping a hole in the crotch for whatever reasoning, which was weird because it was the vest that he was supposed to work on, or she was supposed to work on. So she had to go. He had to go to Jada again. Anyways,
I mean, I think 3 dice is at least moderate competence. Ow.
it's just funnier this way.
If
Anyways,
you were
No.
working on a hole in the chest, hand slip,
yeah,
slit the
right,
crotch.
right.
He took it as a warning.
Ow. Well, back on point.
Yeah, what's up?
Jada.
She will put her tools down, then turn and look at you. She's got grease and all that kind of thing. She pulls a rag out from one of her pockets and starts wiping her hands off. She says, "Yes, so."
I need this back in my helmet.
She
Think you
looks
could
at
help?
it. She looks at it. She goes, "This is a comm unit. Why is it out of your helmet?"
There was a mishap when I was fixing the giant dent.
She just looks at you kind of funny and says, I just give me the helmet," she says, or give Jada the helmet.
Closes the door, hands her the helmet.
Yeah, no, she takes about 5 minutes, and she basically pops everything back in. Wells like does all the stuff and things that, and then kind of puts like a little, I kind of imagine like this little spray can type thing where she just puts a little nozzle on, and then kind of sprays on the foam part of it to kind of adhere to it, and then basically flips the helmet to you and says, "There Zoe is. This one has fixed it."
Thank you.
She nods her head. "Is there anything else that this one can help you with?"
No, not at this moment.
She nods her head and she says, "It'll come off more crass than what it's intended, but you've been around her enough to know that she's not meaning it to sound this way." But she just kind of turns back to what she was doing and then points at the door and says, "The door is that way."
So was a Mandalorian.
Yeah.
That
Oh, I
meant-
know.
That did not upset her at all.
Oh, I know. So, alrighty then.
So, where is Zoe going? Back to the room, the rec room?
To look for Zagar.
Oh, Zagar's still in the same spot.
Ah, well, then she'd like to talk to him for a second. If that's cool.
Sure.
Zagar.
He looks at you and says, "So."
I'm gonna move my token over to him if that's all right.
Sure.
So, I have a question.
Okay.
Clearly you are good at what you do. How often do you meditate or practice?
He says, "I've been doing this for, how long was he been doing this? I want to say it was like, I can't remember. It was like 6 or 10 years. He's been doing this for a while, and it's been an everyday thing with only a few days off in between."
All right. Zoe notices is the vibro sword clear? And
Yeah, he's got it on his person, and it's not 100% like katana style, but in my mind, I kind of see at least the hard sheath and kind of like a little handle. I don't think it's really curved, but it kind of just having the hard sheath is the big important thing.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
It's like, care for a spar?
He kind of looks at you and says, "Yeah, we can spar."
Okay.
Crom's still staying there, seeing all this. What does Crom do?
I'm just watching and shaking his head.
Okay. Jada kind of almost like this motherly intuition about her ship, or at least the mechanics of the ship. Like kind of leans her head and says, No fighting in the engine room. And then goes right back to what
never
she's
going
doing.
to happen, Jada.
Zagar just kind of like sits there and goes, oh, we're not?
Not in here.
Oh. Oh, well, we're going to spar then.
We're going to go to a different location, not in the engine room.
Oh, okay. He says, lead the way.
Okay, so I'm gonna lead Zagar. Let's see.
I'd say the cargo hold.
Yeah, it'd be
So-
I
cargo.
was about to say that. Like,
So I gotta ask, do I have like views of cameras in the cockpit?
Knowing what you dropped on modifications, I'm going to say yes. You have like this little console that kind of periodically switches through the cameras, and you can kind of basically bring one up and then maybe screen and screen. But as you're kind of going, you see Zagar and Zoe being followed by Crom into the cargo hold, and they're kind of going in a big area, and it kind of looks like Zagar is stretching, kind of like he's getting ready to fight.
so to be clear, Zoe would be looking for a area where nothing important is in
Yeah.
possible danger.
Yeah, the cargo hold is
Thank
going to
you
be
for-
yeah.
Thank you for assuming competence.
Yeah.
So I would be able to basically broadcast 2 individual parts of the ship, correct?
Yeah, I'd allow that.
So I'm gonna see that, and I'm gonna lock it on the cargo hold camera, and I'm just gonna watch.
All right.
And when they get ready to start their sparring match, I'm gonna push the button and go, "Don't damage the cargo, don't damage the ship, and for the love of all, don't kill each other."
Zager kind of look around. And he says, it was just a sparring match." Zager says with this kind of slight innocence, like a little confused.
Gosh,
Fair
Because
enough.
in my mind, Zoe walked up and may have said something very offensive,
Oh yeah,
and I'm sitting there going, "Oh no."
right.
Richard, we're holding practice weapons.
He's actually not holding a weapon. If you're holding something, he's literally just has his fists.
Fair enough. So, Zagar.
Hmm.
Long, short, medium.
Long, short, medium.
Size of blade.
Oh, my vibro sword.
Yes. So
It's,
the way I
yeah.
say this, so we don't essentially end up causing each other possible harm. Do you want to do a live spar, or do you want to use these? So I was holding.
Oh, he said. I figured he
the
said we were
setup.
just using the weapons, but just not activating the vibro function.
We can do that.
He says, I haven't had to use practice the wooden Dow one since I was like 6, 4.
It's like live comp, even in sparring with actual live weapons can cause problems sometimes.
And it also keeps you from making mistakes sometimes. And if you do make those mistakes, he says, it kind of helps you to not do that in the future.
True. All right, so let's do this.
All right.
Richard is just shaking his head,
Crom,
going, "This is not
count us
going to
down.
end well."
I just look at him and just this is gonna
Zoe
end
gets in
badly.
stance.
All right.
And
Yeah.
you're just gonna hear Crom just hold up a hand and just 5, 4, 3, 2, 1,
All right.
and just
So give me
Okay, so how's
initiative.
this gonna go? Okay, this will be fun. Come on, roll the perception. 13.
26.
Sheesh.
And he's only got 3d6 for perception.
Did he
Yeah.
explode?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We have the actually, I
I'm.
had a pip, so damn.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So how many
Okay.
actions would you like to take?
2.
All right. He will actually let you go first.
Oh, a gentleman.
He's not saying anything. He's just looking at you. He's got one hand on the sheath and the other hand over the handle of the weapon. And he's just
Was that
glaring
you
at you.
or Zagar?
Hmm?
Was that coughing you or Zagar?
That was me because I had a tickle in the throat. But yeah,
Okay,
he's just kind of holding the weapon and looking at you, waiting to see what you're going to do.
So she's gonna look for an opening and then attack it with a. Oh God. 14.
14. All right, then. So. All right. So as you come at him, he actually doesn't bother drawing the weapon, and he goes into a brawling parry, and he just more or less kind of sidesteps. And for flavor, he kind of takes the sword, the Vibra sword, sheathes it out to a point to smack you in the back of the helmet, and then snaps the sword right back into place, and then stands on the opposite side of you and just
Did
looks
he
at you.
just EA jutsu me?
Pretty much.
Okay.
All right, so
Lovely.
now that is his action. He will. Let's see. Subtract for multiple actions. He will. I actually see him kind of going for a strike, but not with the weapon. I kind of see him just more or less jumping and then taking a hand and just smacking the back of your helmet.
That could hurt.
Yeah. All right. So, would you like to use your last action for a dodge?
You know what? Yes.
Okay. So go ahead and roll me dexterity dodge.
Okay. Come on, dodge. $12.
So, that was close. He ended up having a 17. So yeah, he basically kind of goes up and just pops you right in the head. And then now we get to roll strength. Do not forget your helmet protection for physical.
Rolling it.
Mhm.
Soaking my physical. $25.
Oh yeah, no, he punches it and you can kind of like your head goes forward. Does 0 damage to you. And you kind of even like maybe even look back at him and notice that it had to have hurt, but he didn't react to it at least. He will then take
So
his,
watching this,
Yep.
I'm just gonna look at that and go, I really hope she remembered to replace the cushion.
Right? Okay. And then now he will he is going to take another one of his hands and throw it up, and he will actually force push you. So you have an opportunity to use your willpower.
Willpower?
Yep. So knowledge, willpower.
There's a reason why I have it. Okay, so where are you? Boom. Come on, may the force be with me. The force is not with me,
No, it is not.
because that's a pure wild die.
Yep. So yeah, he basically just kind of throws a hand up, and you stumble back. You don't fall on your butt, but you go a good 2-3 meters back. He force pushes you back, and then he kind of gets back into that stance. So that ends that. Are you going to continue?
Sure.
All right. Roll initiative.
So I was having fun.
All right. So what is your perception initiative?
7.
Ooh, he got 11. So how many
That's
actions?
ironic.
How many actions would Zoe like to take?
Let's say 2 again.
Okay. Alright, then he will go first this time. And he will burn up one of the actions to essentially do a charging attack. And then I will negate. He has to add another d6 or subtract another d6 because this time he's going to charge and pull out the vibro weapon. Okay, so minus what I need to minus. All right. Would you like to burn one of your actions for dodge, by the way?
Could I not parry?
You can parry if you so choose.
Okay. I'm going to go for the parry.
All right. So go ahead.
16.
Ooh, that is a parry. Yeah, you basically, he kind of goes, pulls the sword out, and then when he slaps at you, you're going to notice. I kind of have a feeling it's going to be kind of almost like a bastard sword or a long sword. So it's got the 2 edges. When he goes to slap you, you're going to notice that he's slapping with the flat end of the blade. And you just kind of parry it with a whichever weapon. Which weapon were you using?
Bayonet.
Bayonet? Okay. All right, so yeah. Wham! He just kind of looks at you and snickers. All right, so then it's your turn.
Well, since he's wide open,
Sure.
let's do it.
Let's do it.
Oh.
Hey, he's not going to try to parry of any kind, so that's actually a hit. Are you going to try to stab, slap, punch, kick? You didn't tell me which one you were doing.
Hit him with the butt of the blade.
Okay.
Well, not the blade, but the, you know,
Pommel.
the hand. Yeah, I'm not trying to hurt him.
All right. So go ahead and give me your strength.
Purely the strength and not the damage. Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay. So, where are we? Do. 13.
13. It seems like it stuns him. He kind of like, he hits back and he kind of takes a couple steps back, and then he just kind of seems like he tries to shake it off, and he looks at you with a little bit more determination now.
Like, you good?
You asked that, and he just basically attacks. All right.
Okay.
Oh shit, he's pissed. Okay. Okay. So he is going to basically take the sword, and he kind of like looks like he's going to hit you with it, and he more or less kind of feints, and he's just going to punch you in the soft spot away from all your armor in the side as hard as he can.
So he hit me with the rope-a-dope.
Yep. Hit you with the old rope-a-dope. So go ahead and give me your strength. No protection, because he did end up striking something that was not armored. Ooh.
Pure strength.
Pure
Coming
strength.
up. Oh, 19.
19. Ooh.
Exploded.
Nice. Yeah, no, you punch, you can feel it. The kid put quite a bit into it. You kind of get a feeling he might have been holding back, but you can definitely tell it hurt. It did not feel the world's best, but it doesn't stun you, so you're good. Are you going to keep going?
It's like, all right, I yield.
All right. When you say that, there is going to be kind of a general knowledge that there's about 30 minutes that's supposed to be left for the travel. and the ship is going to suddenly lurch, and there's going to be alarms that go through the entirety of the ship. And the alarms are very distinctive. It's dropping out of hyperspace sooner than expected.
When you say a
So,
lurch,
lurch.
do we have to try to
No.
maintain our footing?
No.
Not that sudden?
No,
Okay.
it's not that hard of a lurch. You can kind of catch your stuff. You guys are good on that one.
Okay, so she's like, boss, what's going on?
I'm looking into it.
All right. So are you looking into it, or are you going to pull out of hyperspace?
I thought we already dropped out.
Did I say
Yeah,
drop
you
out?
said we were. Yeah,
Okay,
you
then
said we
yeah.
were
All right.
dropped
All right.
forcibly.
Okay.
Yep, you
Yeah.
said we
I
dropped
couldn't remember
out
if I
early.
said it that way or not because it wasn't written
It's
that
like
way.
we're
Anyways.
so we're basically in sublight now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You're good. So yeah, poof, you pop out. You're going to do a technical computer programming repair to find out what's going on.
And I will also call Jada.
Yep. Give me the check first.
Technical
We mu-
computer repair.
Crom, get a weapon.
I am a weapon.
My hands are my
Zagar,
weapons.
I don't know if you want. I do not know if you want in on this, but we might have combat.
He
just
just
be
kind of
prepared.
spins. He spins the vibro weapon around. Does the fancy, put in the sheath thing. He goes, I don't sense any danger.
Can I just say I don't find anything?
What'd you have?
I rolled 2 1s with a +2.
So 4.
4.
The ship stopped forcibly. As you're kind of
Which
looking
is
in,
why I called Jada.
yep, as you're kind of looking in things of that, and you're like, you calm the Jada, and you can actually kind of hear that there's some kind of slight hissing, and sounds like she's flipping switches and she's doing, technical crap. And she's going to say that it appears the transpacers are shot. It seems to have caused the primary and secondary processors to burn out. And though it's not showing up, this one believes that the Energizer ring is possibly welded, she says.
This sounds expensive.
She kind of gets quiet for a second, says, it is very expensive, she says.
I'm assuming we don't have spares.
She kind of takes a moment. You can kind of hear her rummaging around. And she says, this one believes I have some of the components. However, this one believes we're going to have to limp on sublight, and Jada's possibly going to have to purchase a few items, she says.
So can I figure out how far we are?
Yep. That would be a mechanical astrogation.
Okay.
So while he's making that roll, Game
Yep.
Master, I
Can I
got
help
one
with
question.
that?
You want to help him with the astrogation?
Yeah,
Yeah, sure.
I believe I
So,
have that.
If that,
Yes,
did
I
we
have
all hear that
astrogation.
convo?
What'd you say?
Did we all hear that conversation?
I
That would have
thought,
been directly to her.
yes,
voice.
I think he was directing it right to her personal comm link. She, with her little headband and things she actually has an built-in comm
Fair
link. So
Well, this is the player. Worst case scenario, could Jada Afro engineer something?
yeah, if she wanted to do some Afro ingenuity, she possibly could. It might not do anything past a micro jump, and there's always the possibility that it could disintegrate the ship, but she possibly could.
Worst case scenario.
It would all hinge on, to the player, it would all hinge on whether or not the Energizer ring's actually welded. If it's not welded, she could, in theory, do it, but if it was welded, you're gonna have problems.
So none of this requires spacing, does it?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
All right. So what do we have, Richard?
10.
10. You are exactly 5 hours and 15 minutes away with sublight engines.
Good.
Did I help at all with that? With
That's
the
not
12?
What was
With
your check?
a 12?
A 12? Yeah, that would have helped out because it would have been the exact thing. He literally hit it right on the nose with 10.
So would I be able to send a message?
Yes, you can send a message. That would be mechanical communication.
Okay.
And you've already made an astrogation check to kind of check out, so it will actually reduce the difficulty of sending the message.
The player is actually scared. 5 hours in sublight. That's a long time.
It is.
Yeah.
You guys have pretty much already. It's been almost an entire day, anyways. So it's another half day.
Like
That'd be
anything could happen. Anything could
13.
happen in that long.
13.
Yeah.
Okay. Now sending this message, are you going to be sending it specifically to Ranex and his crew, or are you going to be doing it to kind of more or less the customer service?
I would be sending it to both, ideally, just to the station. And I would assume it would be to customer service. And I would be stating that I would like it to be passed along to Ranex.
Okay, so you don't want to speak to Ranex directly. Gotcha. All right. So yeah, you basically reach out and you hear a woman essentially answer the comm, and she kind of goes through a whole spiel of like a PowerPoint station. This is Nia. How may I help you?
Hey, Nia. It's been a while. It's Richard.
Oh, Richard, how are you doing? Ranex said that you were heading this way.
Yeah, I'm about a little more than 5 hours out. I may have had some issues with the hyperdrive.
Oh, I'm so
could
sorry to
you
hear that.
could you put us through to Ranex and let him know? I wanted to inform you guys that the delivery might be a little bit delayed because of this.
She says, yeah, you want me to pass the message along? Or did you want us to do it?
I will pass the message along. I just wanted this to be on record as well.
She kind
Yeah,
of
it
chuckles.
might
She
be a
says,
little late.
That's perfectly fine. She says, we'll make note of it. These things happen. She says,
Yes.
and you know that Bipto, he's such a cheapskate. Could have got way better
Oh, yeah.
transports.
He really could have.
Yeah, she's okay, Darwin. I'll see you when you get
I
here.
really overpaid for this.
She chuckles. And there's probably even like a little bit of banter in between and things that where she's kind of maybe flirting with you a little bit. We're gonna say that she's a Rhodian, because they can also speak basic. But yeah, there's probably like a little flirtatious stuff going on and things that, and then she tells you to hold on, and she passes you along. And it does not take too awful long. Where Ranex picks up the comm and he says, "Hello, Richard."
Hey, Ranex. Richard here.
Yes. He says, I'm being told, he says, you're having some engine problems.
Yes.
Is everything okay? Are you fine?
So the ship can move in sublight.
Okay.
It's going to be a bit delayed, but I also want you to know that I have all of your cargo.
Oh, he says that's important. That is very important. He says we have enough.
If you want, we can have somebody meet us to make sure that I don't get intercepted on the way there.
It's actually a
Because
good idea.
there is some very valuable cargo on here.
Yeah, he says, absolutely. He says we can do that. He says,
and I do apologize for the inconvenience.
He says, no. He says, thank you very much. He says, for being upfront. He says, you'd be surprised, like, how very little people do this stuff. He says, and honestly, I should have kind of known. He says that you weren't in big trouble. He says, because usually, he says, something like this happens and there aren't any survivors left. He says, he will say yes. He says, hang tight. He says, keep a wary eye out for any kind of problems or issues. He says, I will be sending transport as soon as we can.
All right.
He says, they'll be there in a few minutes.
Okay.
So
So I will get on the ship comms and be like, all right, they're sending a ship. They're going to meet us here.
Boss, was that line secure?
Yes.
Okay.
I would not be exchanging information like that unless it's a secured line.
Right.
Fair enough.
Okay. So,
I'm still gonna head to the guns.
all right.
Just in case.
That's fine. Zagar is still in the I can't even remember the cargo hold. And as you're kind of walking out, you kind of get a little bit of a way. And Richard's going to see as you kind of like go, huh. The kid kind of looks around a little bit, and then you just see him basically activate the lightsaber, spin it around, deactivate it, and then put it right back into this little hold.
Isn't that the thing that you were working on?
He looks around and says, "Oh, you can see me?"
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
he just kind of gets a little embarrassed. Like, should have remembered that from what you said before. He says, "Yeah, that was the thing I was working on." He said, "I just wanted to make sure." He said, I told you I was confident," as he's looking around for the camera.
Confident or not, I'd rather not risk the ship.
He says, "I'm
Also,
sorry."
make sure that you have that put away.
He says, "No, it's fine." He says, I will." He says, I need to test it." He says, "In case something happens," he goes, "and I have to default to this." He's like, "I want to make sure that it works."
Understood.
So, and sorry, this is what he says. All right. So, it does not take long. Ranex is a man of his word. Only being 5 hours out is literally just a few minutes in hyperspace. So, ship ends up coming by, pings you, and you are going to be noticing the ship, the markings. You know for certain this is one of Ranex's ships. They will, excuse me for a second. They will basically go ahead, send you the comm, let you know that they are going to attach to the hull of your ship to mag lock you on, and then they're going to basically jump you the rest of the way. Then they're going to let you kind of do what you need to as they go about their own business. And true to their word, like I said, they kind of more or less come by, get down, you can feel the ship kind of and make contact with the underneath of that ship, and then not long after that, poof, you jump, and then not long after that, you're back in real space, and then you can kind of hear the mag locks disengaging as you're back on your course, and they just kind of list off to the side and head in a different direction.
All right. So I will attempt to dock at PowerPoint Station.
All right. So as the station comes into view, you're going to make out the silhouette of this massive station. It actually has like a bunch of spotlights because there's no nearby star. And that artificial lighting is what kind of keeps ships from crashing and being able to properly dock and and all that other kind of fun stuff. It has 6 large rings that are connected by a central main hub. This main hub is used to travel in between the 6 rings, and at the end of either sides of the hubs are large docking ports for larger ships. Your ship, however, will need to dock along the strips that are attached to the individual rings. Once again, your comm ends up blipping and all that other kind of fun stuff. You once again know from having done lots of cargo stuff and things that they're sending out communications to get all your information.
Yep.
Yep.
And I'll answer it.
Yep. So you go through the whole spiel. Incoming ship. This is PowerPoint Station. What is your reasoning for visiting? And explain, or as you explain the cargo and the reasoning, there's a momentary pause before the response is made. They go through the transponder code and things of that. And this is the part that always kind of sucks because when you are doing these, they literally have to check your transponder code, check with the manifest, and kind of more or less go through. They need to scan the ship, kind of make sure what's going on, and it usually tacks on easily between 5 to 15 minutes. This time, apparently, though, they have their A crew. So it's about like closer to that 5-minute range. You will then get the confirmation that you can head to docking port 127, and then they will send you the coordinates.
All right.
So go ahead and give me a mechanical space transport check. Oop, that was the wrong one.
Mm, 19, 22,
Oh yeah.
4, 26.
Oh yeah, you got this. Yeah, no. Just for let you know, it was only an 8, so yeah, you were piloting this thing in. You fly in, you basically kind of go through. They have different spaced ships. The section that you're at essentially is for more smaller transports, and they have basically kind of like these umbilicals that stretch out to let you dock into the side. So yeah, you were able to kind of get lined up, do what you need to, lock into the position, all that stuff. It kind of does the sealing, and then you're good. So you are docked and ready to go. At this point, Jada's gonna walk. Is going to walk up to you. She's still kind of got grease and things of that as she's been kind of tinkering around with stuff and everything else. And she's gonna tell you that this one's gonna meet you. This one will meet you at the send-in. Jada's gonna see if she can find the parts to fix the hyperdrive. Before this one goes, she says, make sure you take care of the cargo, she says with like kind of a suggestive tone. And then she will basically kind of make her way from the cockpit out.
All right. So I will, before I depart the ship with the cargo, reach out to Ranex and ask him where he wants the cargo delivered.
He will say standard supplies. He says, go ahead and take it to the I think there's a specific name for it. I just cannot remember. The storage room is what he'll say. You can have your crew do that. He says, you can bring the rest of the cargo directly to my quarters, he says.
All right. So I'm going to look at them and be like, all right, I'm going to go meet Ranex. You guys go ahead and unload the cargo. They want it in the storage room. Typical one. Been here before. And
Yep.
I will contact everybody when I'm back.
Your thing, boss.
You got it.
All right. So as you're kind of making your way out, or making your way kind of like delegating the orders and all that stuff, Jada is actually going to be the one to pressurize and make sure everything's good. So as the door opens, she's going to kind of step out of the docking ring into the umbilical and start making her way. And then you can actually kind of see that there's a human deck officer, or dock officer in this case, that walks up to Jada kind of like a little uncertain. And you hear he's like a young kid. We'll say a Twi'lek. He goes, are you the captain? And Jada, without slowing or missing a beat, just kind of throws her hands in the air and says, no, fool. This one is the mechanic who fixes the captain's crinkling ship. And it starts like muttering and like going on and things that like clearly letting out the aggravation that like she's got to go through all this headache. All right.
So I'm going to grab the backpack, head off the ship.
Alrighty then. So we are
Start
going to
making my way there.
take a micro break, refresh drinks, hit potty, and all of that kind of fun stuff, and then we'll be back to finish up tonight's session. So everybody, just hang in there.
All right.
So, before we go straight back, one small question.
Welcome back to Dice Dorks in Danger, where we dorks are going to be throwing some dice and might get into some danger. Alrighty, thank you for being patient for the break. It is much appreciated, so we could alleviate certain needs. and get some refreshment. Alrighty then. So you guys are in PowerPoint Station. Richard had told you guys to load up the cargo and take it basically to the storage room for Xanax. Good God, Ranex.
Got a
And
medicine in your mind?
yeah, right. And Richard said that he was going to go talk with Ranex himself. And you are very well aware that Jada is heading to get some parts. We're actually going to say that Adamox will be accompanying her since he's been kind of working with her on technical stuff and things that he's like, hey, can I tag along? And she's come on. So they're actually going to tag. He's going to tag along with her. All right. So, as the rest of the crew transports the crates of supplies, you're going to notice graffiti covered wall or covering the walls of this ring. Trash litters the floor, and the smell and even sight of waste are strong enough to turn your stomach. There are children playing a game of grab ball down a nearby corridor. The corridor you're in is lightly crowded with common peoples walking around. It appears to be what you would consider a midday during the week. There are various shops open that are selling various goods. Clothes, foods, restaurants, and even a few weapons dealers. As you're getting close to the destination, how about you guys give me a perception spot check?
But
I don't think I have spot.
You don't. It's a newer skill that I added, so it would just be straight perception.
I got an
That's
8.
search.
All right. And for
And I'm not
those,
on roll 20. Hold on.
okay. And for those you listening in, spot isn't. It
Nine.
is search. 9.
Oh,
Okay.
it is search? Okay, so
No, no,
let
no,
me
no, no, no.
re-roll that.
No.
'Cause that's a little better.
No. For the people listening in, what I said is that I added spot. It is in this system normally just search. However, I'm diversifying some of the skills.
Oh, okay.
So I have an 8 and a 9.
Yep.
All right.
8 and 9.
Yep.
Alrighty then. So as you guys are kind of looking around, you're going to kind of see that there's like a few big groups of people walking together, kind of going down the hall. You don't really spot anything odd or weird, as will kind of, I don't think I said in this game session, but Ranex had said that there had been problems with people stealing cargo from him. But right now, you're not seeing anything. So,
Okay.
storage room 16 is your destination. You get there, and the large door slides open with a slight sound of friction in the gears. The storage room is about a 30 meters by 20 meters size room, and it actually looks like it used to be a cargo hold at one point in time, which it still kind of is, but it's been slightly modified. There are boxes, droids, shells, and random assortments of junk throughout, taking up most of the space. 3 guards let you into the storage room. One is a human male, one is a Devorian male, and a female human. All right. Each is armed with blaster rifles and looks like they're wearing blast vests and blast helmets. So you guys are going to be kind of putting along, doing what you need to do. Is there anything extra that you wanted to do?
Question.
Hold on a second.
Don't
Crom?
ask me first.
I was just gonna ask, just taking a quick glance around the start this place as a whole.
Yeah, pretty much. It is very much a hole. The storage room or the ring, actually? The entirety?
The storage.
The storage
Yeah,
room?
the entirety of the storage room.
Yeah.
Just taking a quick glance around it.
Absolutely,
Like-
yeah. It is not It is not up to codes or spec. It literally is just some random crap just thrown in there.
Doesn't help that it doesn't sound like that door gets opened often.
That or there might just be some kind of problems with the mechanics that they haven't fixed yet.
You done, Aaron?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, so my question is, Game Master,
Mm-hmm.
were we weapon checked?
No.
Is this a relatively safe area?
No.
No.
Okay, cool. Armed. Gotcha.
Yeah, that's
May
why
I
they didn't
pipe
weapon
up?
check you.
May I
Yeah.
pipe up?
Yeah.
Okay. So I would like to remind the players that he did say this is a fairly lawless area.
Mhm.
That there are
Yes.
all kinds of degeneracies going on
Yeah.
here.
I forgot that part.
Yeah. So
That's
as
right,
I was kind of as I was describing it, and yeah, I
I
didn't
think
come
that
out and
was
say it
last
that way.
section of the
Yeah,
session before.
possibly. But as I was
Okay.
describing it, it is kind of like a rundown. Not terribly so, but there are. It's not it's kind of shady.
It is in the middle of nowhere for a reason.
Yes. All right.
Quick question: were we
yes.
being followed by chance?
With those spot checks, no.
No. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, I believe you
Yes,
said
but-
Pirate Haven.
Yes.
So
Pirate
weapon at the ready, not
smugglers-
weapon drawn. If that's
Huh?
all right. Weapon at the ready, not weapon drawn.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Yeah, these guards are basically going to kind of hit the door, basically kind of getting there. Two of them are going to be looking out, while one of them is going to be kind of standing in and more or less directing traffic, just kind of telling you, hey, put the stuff over there. Now, would you guys like to ask any questions while you're here, or did you want to just do your job and get out?
I'll still look at one of the cards. How often does someone actually try to get in here?
We'll say it's going to be the Devorian is going to be the one you speak with. He's going to say, he's going to kind of get this funky look on his face, and he'll say, we actually had somebody break in here not too awful long ago. Made off with a lot of the air purifiers and other big ticket items, some booze, stuff like that. You'd
And
be
if someone were
surprised.
if someone were trying to retrieve this, where would most likely you'd think they would be found?
Dude just kind of shrugs his shoulders. He says, honestly, around here, he says, we don't know. He says, chances are they're pirates, and I couldn't tell you where they'd be.
Fair enough.
Now you can, because you've been at the station before, knowledge law enforcement to see if you can kind of think about stuff pertaining to
give
the
me-
question at hand.
Law enforcement.
Yep.
Don't have that. Got streetwise. Don't have law enforcement. So that's interesting.
12
12?
3.
with a 6 on a wild die.
Oh wait,
Nice.
hold on. I forgot to go to 1, so let me re-roll that. I forgot to change my actions back.
0, 0, 0 plus 3.
Yeah, my actions were set to 2. Especially with that perception roll, but it's a little too late for that. Oh. Oof. Oof.
You get another nat one.
Oh.
How many times do I
got
gotta
the
tell
same
you?
number.
How many times do I gotta tell you? Physical dice are probably more your best friend. I'm just saying. Do what you want, but physical dice are probably more your best friend. Okay.
It didn't matter. You still got a 3.
All right. So Crom,
Yes.
you're going to kind of think about it, and with what he had said, you know that there have been other times you've been in here that they've had droids, and this time they aren't droids. There are not any droids in here. but actually breathing beings, meaning that this has been happening apparently to a frequency in which they're not trusting droids.
Fair enough.
Yep. So they don't. How would I put it here? You're kind of thinking that it could possibly be a local ring of thieves, with this being a rundown kind of thing. Also, you cannot look past the fact that there are other rings, and each ring is kind of almost treated like its own separate city. It could actually be more or less what you would consider a rival ring that are kind of sneaking in, stealing stuff, and then kind of going out.
Okay.
But there's no 100% certainty of what it is. You do know that
All right.
they are for sure working for Ranex. This is 100% known. You do know that Ranex is a crime lord for this little ring. It's a small thing, but he's still considered a crime lord. Let's see. Not much incriminating evidence. Let's see. Okay, so you guys can also roll me a perception persuasion if you want to try to get more information, since they seem like they're being a little tight-lipped.
All right. I'll give it a
So-
try.
This was not my role, by the way. So, got it.
Yeah.
I just tried physical dice for shiggles before you asked. I still rolled a 1. That is not this roll. So I'm going to actually make this roll.
That's fine.
Persuasion.
I rolled an 11, just
Yep.
so you know,
Okay.
with a 5 on the wild.
Now let's wait for Zoe.
Well, 5,
All right.
10.
Okay. So both are good enough, as you guys are kind of unloading and like doing as they request and stuff like that. And Zagar is actually going to be kind of helping you. They'll be keeping a little bit closer eye on him because he's newer to the crew, but they're not going to really say too awful much. They'll just kind of keep that close eye. As you guys are kind of talking while unloading and things of that, the Devorian is going to kind of say that there is a pirate gang, which are simply known as the PowerPoint Bandits, that have recently shown up, probably within the past month cycle, and they think it might be them. Rumor has it.
Pirates. I made a horrible joke.
Oh,
Don't worry about it.
you're fine. The rumor has it amongst Ranix's crew is that the leader is some kind of a Bothan, maybe, which is kind of odd because most Bothans are pretty peaceful and are more worried about gathering information than trying to make a profit off of stealing things. They're also kind of wondering if the pirate leader may have lost a large sum of money at Ranix's the Sinden, at his little casino club bar, and that he might be trying to steal stuff back to regain profit.
So this is just for appearances. This Deveronian. What's he look like? His horns, how they
Yep.
become?
The Devorian, this one, he's gonna have kind of like a greenish gray palette. I kind of see him having like mutton chops, kind of almost like a Hellboy-esque. He's got like 2 semi-large horns. Judging from the horns and how he looks and things, that he's probably middle-aged, give or take. He's got a few scars. Looks like one of his eyes actually might be a implanted cybernetic eye, just from kind of the look of it. He seems pretty rough and grizzled and all that other kind of fun stuff. All right.
So how confident are you that the cargo will be secure?
He says normally boss had a lot of droids. He says guarding here because a lot of people didn't mess with the basic storage stuff. He says, but we've been here for about 3 cycles and nothing's happened yet. He says, and I have experience with a blaster. He says, I feel pretty confident.
Fair enough.
Alrighty then.
Just
So
remember the basic rule. Anybody can get got.
he nods his head, says, "Oh, I know." How do you think I came about this wonderful gem of an item? He kind of motions to his cybernetic eye.
Fair enough.
Prom, was there anything you wanted to do?
No, I'm just kind of keeping an eye out,
Sure.
making sure no one's trying to scope us out for the moment.
Yep. No, you're kind of looking as you're doing all that stuff, and you see passerbys. It is kind of interesting because with the other two like standing at the door guarding it, a lot of people are giving extra berth. Like they're noticing, oh shit, they got blasters out, and then they just kind of like go a little extra way around, as to not incur wrath. But yeah, the kid's not gonna say anything. He's not gonna acquire anything. He just kind of helps us where he needs to help. So we will screen swipe now to Richard. All right, so you've run the shipment to Ranex a few different times in the past within probably a few standard months. The guards have actually come to know who you are and why you show up, but they still have to do standard checks on the cargo as it is their jobs. But it's way easier this time than it has been than it was when you first made this run. As the guard lets you in. Hold on. Say as the guard lets you in, you're gonna stand before a dark red-skinned Devorian, Ranex Devav. He's sitting behind his desk with 2 IG-88 assassin droids standing next to him. He looks away from the table and smiles a large, sharp-toothed smile. Right on time. Well, despite the hyperdrive issues, I mean. Please, come in.
I'll walk in. I'm assuming there's a seat.
Yep, there's a seat. He's got a chair right there. I think he's got like the 2 chairs and stuff like that. You pick whichever one you want.
Yeah, I'll take the backpack off.
Yep.
Set it on the desk in front of him. Go. The goods as promised. Long time no see.
Yeah, he says,
Well,
yeah. He's like, thank you so much. He will kind of reach into his desk and you hear some credits fumbling around. And he places it on the desk, slides it to you as he double checks the shipment.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem to be worried. You can kind of tell the look on his face because the guards are supposed to do this beforehand. He just kind of looks at it real quickly and then shuts it, locks it up, and then basically takes it. And then you see him kind of lean in and put it under his desk or near his desk. So you count the credits, and he is going to tell you that it is there should be my brain 5,500 credits in there. He says 1,500 are for bringing the supplies for the send-in. He says the rest is for the spice and making sure it got here. He says, you truly are the only runner that I've had that can not run into any issue. Luck is on your side, he says.
That it is.
Alrighty then. He is going to ask if so have you had any other troubles as a Twi'lek? Kind of see her kind of like a pale blue skinned in my mind. Kind of walks up, offers you a drink, just some kind of a wine.
I'll take it.
Okay. So you take the wine, and there's another glass there. She offers it to him. It seems like it's a pretty standard practice. A lot of places you've been, they often serve the big cheese first. Ranex seems to do a little bit differently. He almost always seems to say, "Hey, take care of the guests." He lets you pick whichever one you want, and then he takes whichever you don't take. Kind of almost also as a sign of good faith.
Yeah.
So you are actually going to also notice that there is a large crate that is about 2 to 3 meters high, and it actually it's sizable. It's not something that is normally in his room, and he is going to kind of politely banter and talk with you first about Mojo. He's going to say, so have you seen Mojo recently, anytime? Personally, face to face, he says.
No, not too recently.
Okay. He says, well, he says, as luck would have it, he says, if you're interested, he says, I do have another job.
Okay. Work is always appreciated.
Oh, of course, my friend. He motions towards that box that you happen to notice. He says that Mojo has inquired of a very specific item, we'll say. He says, very rare, very hard to come by. And he says, I was going to send this out with some of my boys to drop it off to Corbin Deltas. He says, but I knew you were coming. He says, and I trust you quite a bit. He says, I would actually like if you would consider dropping this off to Mojo. Pay will be pretty good. He says, if you can get it there, he says, to my understanding, he says, Mojo will pay you the sum of 3,000 credits upon delivery.
It's not bad pay at all. I am going to need to get that hyperdrive fixed first.
He kind of snickers and says, oh, but with that mechanic that you have, Jada, he says, oh, it'll be fixed in no time. But yes, the parts are rather costly.
Yeah, those rings might be fused.
Oh, no, he says, I hate to hear that. He says,
Yeah.
I know a guy who's tried to jump that way one time, blew the entire back end off. He says, he barely survived the incident. His crew, they're dead. This is just kind of what he says as he goes to drinking his wine.
I'm going to give a light giggle and go, there's a reason that I called.
He says, oh, I understand. He says, I would much rather, he says, take the little extra time, he says, to make sure my cargo gets here safely. He says, after all, these special shipments that I get ever so often, he says, aren't cheap, he says.
So how illegal is this cargo we're talking?
He says, I actually don't know. He says, it is kind of a curious thing. He says, there are rumors, he says, going around within, well, mostly the criminal underground, that on Corbin Deltas, the political parties are potentially siding more with the empire that's settled on their moons and maybe shying away from the Hutts. Mojo has kind of been leery about this ever since the empire has settled in on the moon to get the Tabana gas mines. He says, and he wanted a very specific kind of droid. He says, very hard to come by. Actually, kind of reminds me of your friend Jada, sort of, he says, as he swiggles some of the wine. It is... Have you ever heard of the Akoziks?
Not familiar, actually.
He says, that's not too surprising. The Akoziks are kind of a mystery. He says, they seem to have a planet nobody knows. He says, there's rumors they come from the unknown regions. He says, but some say that they're just around. He says, well, from my understanding, he says, if you want to believe in these types of stories, they venture into the galaxy, he says, often for various different reasonings. They sometimes have a pilgrimage, he says, that they take, he says, or they just want to kind of live their life, he says, and their technology and weapons, everything just so advanced, he says, and that's what he wanted. He wanted one of their droids. He says, I told him it was a long shot, almost impossible. He said, but there I was, about 2 standard week cycles ago, and we happened to stumble upon one. Beautiful, beautiful specimen, he says.
I'm assuming that crate is extra shielded.
Yes. He says, I don't want to take any unnecessary precautions. He says, it's something you
Neither
don't have
do
to.
I.
Yeah. He says, it's something you don't have to stow away. He says, it should pass any of the inspections from even the Imperial Star Destroyers.
That was going to be my next question.
He just kind of nods his head. He says, I know my clientele. He says, and I know my business partners as well.
Yes.
He says, after all, he says, I wouldn't want that kind of a headache.
Oh no.
So,
Curious question, have I been in any trouble recently?
besides the Black Sun?
Does he say that?
Oh, you ask him.
Yes.
Oh.
I say curious question.
Oh. Have you been in any trouble lately? If that's what you...
Yeah.
Okay.
He asked me at the very beginning, I believe.
Oh. He might have.
Yeah, you said that question. If
Okay,
he didn't ask
okay,
it, I'm not
okay.
going to answer it.
No. It's my brain was disconnected there for a second. He will actually say, yeah, he says, I've heard, he says, that certain peoples may have run into Black Sun problems, he says. And I may also know, he says, that there's a bounty hunter looking for you that works with the Black Sun. And I may also know, he says, that this bounty hunter is being paid a fair bit for your heads, and has even put out information on, or put out some credits for information leading to your capture. Don't worry, he says, I know that look. Don't worry. He says, it's much, much more profitable to keep the business arrangement that we have. He says, after all, he says, you're one of the few, if only, that can get me my spice.
So his
Well, I'm glad business is good enough.
Yep. And he will say, so he says, I imagine, he says, Jada is going to be a while, if nothing else, than to look for the parts for your ship. And he says, are you going to be spending any time in the Sinden?
Jada actually said that's where she was heading, so I figured I might join her.
Nice. He says, always liked Jada. He says, such a wonderful human being. He says, you're pretty good too. He says, Bud, he says,
Very reliable.
yeah, he says, the reason why I was asking, he says, is because if you have any credits to put down, which I know you do, he says, there's actually a curious fight that's going to go underway. So, as a little bit of a kind of breakaway from the role play, the Sinden covers a variety of gambling. I believe I have most of the stuff here. So, if I can find it. Apparently, I didn't have that one open. So, I know for a fact that it has Sabak, Chance Wheels, the Jubilee wheels, Chance machines. You can actually bet on pod racing and speeder bikes and speeder racings, and they also have live combat, like cage fighting. So, yeah.
Do share.
He says, With keeping in line, he says, of course, with the clientele that comes in and out of here, he says, not too surprising. He says, but there's actually a bounty hunter, he says, that was looking for some information. He says, on a Morgan Katarn. I wouldn't know anything about the guy, he says, but I may have alluded to possibly knowing where he could be. And he says, the darn fools decided to take me up on my silly offer, he says, and one of them's actually going to fight Drist. Which, you've talked with Drist. He is a Wookiee.
He actually took you up on fighting Drist.
She's young, too. 16, 17, 18, somewhere around in there. A damned fool, if you ask me, he says, as he finishes off his drink.
Did you get a name?
Yeah, he says, actually pretty common visitors every so often. He says they've actually done a little bit of work for me before. He says, the Sato sisters, Freya, Nina, and Aya.
Can you let Drist know not to kill them?
He kind of laughs. He says, "Oh, I can't guarantee that." He says, "You know the crowd love the blood and guts."
I do know the crowd.
He says, "But," he says, "the girl was the young girl Freya. She was pretty spunky. Thought she could take him. But," he says, "Nina being Nina convinced me that instead of letting it go several rounds," he says, "if Freya can survive a minute in the cage with Drist, then we'll hand over any information that we have on the possible leads and whereabouts of this Morgan Katarn fellow."
I hope you're prepared to hand over that information.
He kind of looks at you funny. What?
They are no joke.
He laughs. He says, "Oh, I know." He says, "But at the same time," he says, "Driss is a very accomplished fighter. He's had several wins under his belt, only a few losses. I would think about maybe possibly putting a bet on him. That could help you out with your engine troubles," he says.
That it could. I'll take that into consideration. Appreciate the information.
"Oh, anything to do to help you out, friend."
So, I will get back to you about that job.
He says, "Yes, absolutely."
I don't exactly want to undertake something like this without the crew understanding the risk.
He nods his head.
The importance of being discreet.
He nods his head. He says, "Oh, I totally understand."
Will I see you at the fight?
He says, "Very possibly." He says, "I don't have too much more going on." He says, "And I will attempt to get down there before the fight starts. After all," he says, I can't lie." He says, "I want to see Drist rip out the woman's arm and beat her to death with it. I mean, win," he says, with the kind of devilishly smiled. Can't even talk. Blech. All right.
Well, I will see you there.
He kind of nods his head. He says, "I will see you there, friend."
And I'll head out.
Alrighty then. So, let us go. Let's see. Gambling rules and games. Alright. So, we're now going to swipe. Actually, not to the send-in. We're actually going to swipe to Corbin Deltas as a YT-2400 goes into the Atmo and kind of flies around and will come to rest at Homestar Logistics. There will be a droid, a man in Mandalorian armor, and I don't think I ever give her a species. A female Zabrak. They walk off of the ship and they start making their way to the front desk, essentially. And as they walk in, the Zabrak woman is going to look at the droid behind the desk and say, "We need to speak with whoever runs this establishment." And the droid will kind of take a moment and then turn its head like completely around and shout for Bipto. And Bipto will, yes, hold on, one moment. Comes walking out into the room, and the Zabrak woman is going to look at Bipto, looking down, and say, "You run this place?" "Oh, yes. Were you wanting to transport something? I have many fine ships and crews that can run various different things and do this and do that." And I'll kind of go on with a big spiel. And the Mandalorian just kind of looks over and says, "We're looking for a specific ship that we were tracking." And Bipto kind of looks a little funny. He says, "What do you... Okay, what specific ship?" And the Mandalorian hands out a holo projector that essentially translates coordinates, and he will say that these are the coordinates. Appears that they've landed in one of your docking bays. Bipto kind of looks and says, "Huh, that's interesting. I actually don't... Well, no, yeah, now that you think about it, there was someone that had come down here, freelancer, landed down, and he says to pick up a couple things and then scurried off." The Zabrak woman says, "What ship was it?" I don't quite recall. "If I'm not mistaken," he says, "it was a YT model. YT, possibly the 1300? No, maybe it was the 900. And the Mandalorian is going to say, "It was a 1200. No. The 1200s is what my crew uses. No, it wasn't that. It wasn't that at all." And the Mandalorian just kind of walks up, looks down at him, and says, "So you're trying to tell me that it was some different ship?" Yes. That's exactly what I'm telling you. We have freelancers that come in and work various times. I have no reason to lie to you. I can clearly see you're bounty hunters. You," he says, "have that look about you," as he says to the Mandalorian, and the Mandalorian just kind of looks, tilts his helmet. "A look about me, huh? Oh, yes. He says, I've seen your kind coming and going." So the Zabrak woman says, "Okay, all right." And she hands over like a little chip, and she says, "If you come into any information, here's who we're looking for. It also has contact information." "Oh, okay." Takes it, puts it in his pocket. He says, "Well, if I come across anything, I'll let you know." And they will basically walk out of the establishment. As Bipto kind of goes, kind of slumps down and starts shaking his head, and he goes, "Oh, that boy is going to be the death of me." And then we will swipe back to the send-in. All right. So the send-in is a surprisingly large room that is wall-to-wall everything type of gambling imaginable. Can't talk today. In fact, it seems like Ranex's den makes up at least a third of this level of the PowerPoint station. Sabak, there's all the stuff. Sabak, Jubilee wheels, chance machines, Dejark, as well as monitors for pod and swoop racing. Are some of the gambling, and then in the center of the room is going to be the cage that you guys you guys have probably been here, so you guys have seen before. That's staged up for specific fights. The room's going to reek of a mixture of booze, smoke, spice, and perspiration. There'll be multiple hydration stations that are located around the floor. There are going to be several service droids, anywhere from Astromechs to the WA7 droids. There is a medium roar among the place, where some creatures are shouting in the horror of losing everything, while others are just happy to finally get a big payday. So, what does everybody want to do? And if you want to gamble on any of this stuff, you can gamble.
I'm gonna go find Jada first.
Jada is actually going to be, for simplicity's sake, we're going to say she's actually walking in with Adamox. So it's not a hard look. You kind of look over. They're going around. Adamox is going to kind of go get himself a drink. Jada is going to spot you. You'll spot her, or she'll throw a hand up and you'll walk over.
So I'll walk over.
Okay.
Are they with me?
Yeah. I imagine you guys have all met up at this point.
I'm gonna look at him and go, okay. Interesting turn of events.
How so?
I'm gonna look around, be like, Nina's here.
I'm sorry, what?
Nina is here.
Where?
At the station. The youngest sister is gonna be fighting soon.
The scrappy one?
Yes.
Who's she fighting?
And
Drist.
you
I'm
guys
sorry,
will know
what?
who Drist is.
Oh, the good boy.
Is there a caveat to that?
I'm gonna go find Drist.
Okay. So,
Just immediately
Kron walks off. Yep.
Hey, Master, I've got a question.
Yeah.
So this is a gambling den.
Yep.
Competitive shooting, yay or nay?
Nay.
Damn
It's
it.
a space station. They're not going to do that.
What? I was looking for something along the lines of darts or something.
No, they don't do that. It's mostly games of chance.
Okay. Gambling's never been my thing with these types of things. So are you placing a bet, Richard?
Smart money's on Trist. However, I'm hesitant to bet against Freya.
Okay, so
What
if you want, anybody can either. Well, you got two checks that you can make. Because as you're kind of talking about this, I will also say that there is going to be, where the cage is, there's going to be a large monitor that's basically going to show up all the stats. And let's see. It's an octagon type ring with cage stuffs around. The messages are displaying in Basic, Hatiz, Rodian, and Bith. The two names are Freya Sato and Drist. And then there is going to be a favor for Drist, 150 to 1.
Wow, looks like I'm betting on Freya.
Yeah, because it's if you bet on Freya, if I understand how this works, because I don't really gamble with these types of stuff.
Basically, you win the whole pot.
Yeah, every credit you spend is basically doubled by 150.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I'm to understand, I believe that's how that works. Kind of like horse betting.
Wow.
Now, with this information, you can roll a perception investigation, or you can roll a perception gambling.
I don't have gambling, so perception investigation it is.
Sure. And Crom, you can make a check too, because you're going to be noticing the screen and all that stuff.
Sorry, what am I rolling?
If you want perception investigation or perception gambling.
So I don't have either, so it'd just be straight perception, right?
Yep, but depending on which one you are doing will depend on what information you get. It will also depend on which one you could potentially level up.
It was gambling and what? Sorry?
Investigation or gambling.
I will do gambling.
Okay.
So Game Master, I got a 13, I think. 5, 10, 12. Yeah, 13.
I am Wookiee. I am
Investigation.
not smart.
And what'd you get?
I got a 4, but it was a 3 on the wild die.
Wookiee gonna win. Okay. Richard, what did you have?
18, and I'm using
18.
gambling.
Nice. All right. So the investigation. Looking at it with all the stats and things that you know that Freya is obviously a human female. It is going to say that she is from my capo. She's stands at an even 6 foot and weighs 160 pounds. This appears to be her first match. However, it does state that she's a young mercenary. That detail is likely why the odds are not as high as they are. Drist is the Wookiee from Kashyyyk, standing in at 7'2", weighing 280 pounds, with a clear height and weight and reach advantage. It seems a pretty safe bet the Wookiee is going to win. However, there's something interesting accompanied with all this information. Apparently, oh, yep, you had already stated that because of one thing. So it basically says on the thing there that it's win or lose is based on a time frame. And having the certain level of insight that you do, having run into the Sato sisters, it might be a smarter bet to bet on the woman. Now, with your gambling check there, Richard, flat out is, while it would be an easy bet on the Wookiee, the time limit is the biggest factor. So the odds actually should be more like a 1-15 in the Wookiee's favor. So the Wookiee does have an impressive 100 wins and only 5 losses, but you are really leaning towards bet the money on Freya.
Yeah.
So how much we betting, boss?
You can bet whatever you want.
Yep. So while you guys are thinking about betting, Crom, let's go to you.
Yes.
Yes. So you end up finding Drist. He is going to be outside the cage, just kind of like throwing his arms up with the crowd, getting him all in a bloodthirsty chant and rave and all that stuff.
I'm just gonna look at him and just I'm just gonna look at him with a smile.
He smiles back at you, and he'll kind of like pat you on the shoulders and like shake you and things like that, because you can definitely tell he's pumped up for a fight.
Yeah, and while he's getting pumped up, I'm kind of throwing little fake jabs at him, just try to help him get warmed up.
Yeah, he's float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, kind of thing. He's going right back at it and everything else. You can tell he does not seem to be worried at all.
I'm just smiling and saying, just remember, go for the legs, go for the arms.
Right?
The little bastard.
Standard Wookiees.
That's right. If you pull their leg out of socket, then they can't run, and you just beat them with their own leg.
And if that doesn't work, go for a few ribs.
That's right. Humans are fragile. They break easy.
And if they start trying to be sneaky, well, just grab them by the face and throw them into the floor.
Yeah.
They make funny bouncing sounds when their heads hit concrete.
I know,
Don't
right? It's kind of like it's a really fun noise. I could listen to it all day.
Yeah, it's even funnier when you put your foot over it.
I know, right? That crunching sound that they can make.
It's just satisfying.
I know, right? All right, so
we are teetering on the edge of PG-13 now.
Yes, I am very well aware. So, are you planning on putting down any bets, Crom?
I'm putting my money on him.
Okay, how much are you going to put down?
How much do I even have? I don't think I have that much. I have 100 credits to my name apparently.
Okay.
So I will just put down 100 credits.
All right. And then, so you two have thought about it. Richard, how much did you want to bet, if anything?
I'm going to do 500 on Freya.
500 on Freya. Okay. And then what about you, Zoe?
250 on Freya.
All right.
I will make
So,
that note here.
I will state now. Obviously, it's even or uneven with 2 people betting on Freya and only 1 on the Wookiee. But I'm going to say one side is correct. So I have to do the math real quick just to make sure that I have the calculations right. I don't want to screw this up. So, alrighty then. Oh, cool. Sorry, I got a message from a friend. Just, oh, that ain't right. And I screwed something up there. Before I could write that down. Hold on, my brain. No. There we go. Okay. Alrighty then. So, while Crom is, hopping up Drist, puts down his crits and things that Richard and Zoe are going to put down their bets and everything else, and you guys are going to notice from a little distance away that there are 2 women, one of clearly which is Nina. The other one is the first time and easily to assume Whisper, her name being Freya, as she kind of like hands over a really nice sniper rifle that is the distinguishing factor. That you're like, that sniper rifle looks familiar, and it kind of dawns on you. That's Whisper. She's just not in her armor. And Nina puts the weapon like over and all that kind of fun stuff as you guys are kind of making your way to the front.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Are weapons permitted in the ring?
No.
No? Okay.
No, they're not
I
permitted.
just thought I'd ask.
Yeah, it is straight strength. And most Wookiees, anytime that they do these types of things, they won't use their claws. They don't like using weapons and stuff like this, especially if it's not to the death. But yeah, claws is a big thing that they usually don't do in hand-to-hand combat. It's dishonorable. All right. So you guys are basically going to be kind of going to the front, where I don't think I actually said, but Ranex basically kind of more or less said that you guys have front row seats to it. I was kind of implying it, but I did forget to mention it. So yeah,
Okay.
you guys can actually like basically go up, and the section that you guys are going to be sitting, you guys actually have more access to side of the ring than anybody else because they're Ranex's seats. So you guys can actually see Freya and Nina off to the side there. So let us see here. Drist is still standing outside of the cage, roaring and flexing. His adoring fans cheer and replicate his flexing motions. On the other side of the cage stand Freya and Nina. They bear a striking resemblance, and they definitely both seem like they're family. It's unsure if they are mother and daughter or maybe they're sisters. But from the distance that you're at, it is kind of tough to tell.
So, question.
Yes.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how fit is Freya? In both senses,
She's
of
still
course.
she has clothes on and things that like she's got a coat and jacket, so you can't really tell. She's not overweight. She seems pretty thin. But
Alright.
she's got enough baggy clothes on. You can't get a good assessment. The camera will kind of focus on those two as Freya is going to be kind of stretching and then loosening herself up for the fight. And then Nina is going to say, "We can get the information another way, Freya." And then Freya's doing one of these numbers and says, "Yeah, but it wouldn't be as much fun." Freya says with a kind of a slight grin, "Besides, it's the fastest and easiest way to get get the information we wanted, right? Easiest, Nina exclaims. That is a Wookiee. It has more than enough strength to rip your head from your body. And then Freya stops stretching, looks for a moment, then looks over at the Wookiee, almost puzzled. Then she looks back at Nina. Well, it'd be easier for me than you. I'm the better fighter anyways. And then before anything else can be said, there's going to be a droid that walks up with like this large box. And then Freya looks at it, opens it up, and she goes, it's empty. Is it supposed to be empty? And the droid says, it's restoring your deadly weapon, your deadly and your stun weapons. Freya nods. And then she starts pulling out all of her weapons. She puts in a heavy blaster pistol, various different things from her belt, which are like grenades and magazines. And the droid asks her, do you have a person that you wish to hold on to your belongings, or shall I? And then I kind of see a vibro dagger getting pulled out of the boot and puts it in there, and she kind of motions over. She says, Nina can do that for me. So while they're kind of doing that stuff, does anybody want to interact with those two?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So, long time no see, ladies.
Nina's going to look, throw up a hand. She says, what are you doing here?
I'm gonna look over and go, work is work.
Well, I was going to say
Yeah, I
something
understand
along the
that.
lines of fate can be intriguing.
Nina, oh yeah, absolutely. Freya's gonna still be stretching things that, and she would say, so how's the kid?
He's
Um,
fine.
Well, that's good.
So
He has
scared.
taken the words to heart.
Well, that's also
Yes,
good.
yeah.
Go ahead.
He's doing well enough, and I hope he'll adapt. He seems to be adapting proper.
Well, that's
Hopefully it sticks.
That's good.
How about you two?
Freya is going to look at Richard and smile. She says, I'm gonna fight a Wookiee.
I heard.
Nina just kind of
Yeah,
lowers her
yes,
head
you
and
are.
shakes it, and she's like, I try to talk her out of it.
Why? It sounds like fun.
Nina
I'm
looks
just gonna
at
look
you
as
like,
though
really?
that thing would rip you in half.
Yeah, she would. It
Yeah,
would.
I know.
Freya kind of looks at Zoe and says, "Yeah, she is on the petite side. It probably would rip you in half.
I'm more of a, well, ranged weapon person.
Then it definitely
Yeah,
would rip you in
so
half." She
don't fight a
says,
Wookiee.
"Right?
But, and melee.
I'm
But
just laughing,
unfortunately,
just chuckling to
blades
stuff in the
aren't allowed.
background.
If they
And just
were, it would be a whole nother.
All right. What were you
But,
saying,
yeah.
Crom? You're getting cut off
Crom's
there.
just chuckling to himself in the background, just looking at Zoe, just making little motions of ripping an arm off.
Well, I'm still going to enjoy watching you fight.
That is great.
Freya, is it?
She says, "Yeah, we've met.
Yeah, I know.
I
saw the
didn't think
gun.
you'd know. She with all my armor on."
Well, the gun was a dead giveaway.
She nods her head. She says, "Oh, I know." And at that point, then she is going to disrobe the coat, and then you're going to definitely see that underneath the coat, she is deceptively muscular.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
At 6 foot,
yeah.
165 pounds, yes, she
Yeah.
is built.
Yeah.
So, Game Master, I've got a question.
Yeah.
What's a composure roll?
Willpower.
Okay. I'm going to roll that right quick.
Sure.
That was a 7 pass to not keep my cool.
Nope.
You're fangirling.
She's like, oh, more than fangirl. She's looking at her. She's like,
Doing one of those
what?
things like trying to touch.
Ow.
Yeah, trying to like touch the muscles, and Freya's like, hey.
You can well, I wouldn't go that far, but if
I didn't say
through the
actually
helmet,
touch
you
him
can-
though.
Even through the helmet, you can tell she's basically drooling over her. It's like,
Freya will just kind of shoot a look at you like, not gonna happen.
a girl can dream.
She says, dream away, ain't gonna happen. All right, So, Richard, was there anything else you wanted to say while Crom's still making motions like her arm's gonna get ripped out?
I'm just gonna look at Freya and go, I think smart money's on you.
She says, yeah. She says, if you haven't bet, I'd bet.
Oh, we have.
Okay, that's good. It better have been on me. She's, I feel confident. And
It
Nina's just like,
definitely was.
Nina just kind of rubs her forehead and she says, she's more confident than I am. And she says, what? She says, I put quite a bit of money down on me. She says, oh my God, do you seriously bet on yourself?
what?
That's so tacky. She's like,
That is
absolutely.
poor form.
She looks at, Freya looks at Zoe and says, poor form, nothing. I'm going to be rich. And there's nothing against the rules here on doing that. And Nina nods her head. She's right.
I'm just gonna look at.
This is kind of a lawless area.
Yeah. What are you saying,
Yeah,
Richard?
I'm gonna look at him and go, you know, if you don't bet on yourself and you bet against yourself, that just raises all kinds of red flags.
Freya just snaps her finger, points. She says, see, this one gets it. And Nina's just like, good call. I actually didn't think about that. All right.
It makes sense if you're gonna bet on yourself.
That's right.
Otherwise, you're planning to lose.
So at this point, you guys are actually going to see basically everybody else falling in. Jada is going to be with Adamox and the kid. The kid was actually going to kind of look at Freya and then wave, and then she'll look over and she'll just kind of give like a thumbs up. And I kind of see like the camera focused in on Jada and Adamox and Zagar. And Adamox is going to kind of be like, dadgum, she's way more built than I thought she would be, and pretty cute. And then Zagar's going to be like, yeah, I told you she was cute. And Jada just kind of shakes her head. She says, sit down. As all three of them just kind of sit down. Adamox is like, I really didn't know who to bet on. I kind of wanted to bet on the Wookiee, but I don't know. I'm very indecisive with these things. And then Jada just kind of goes, this one is not betting. Like, this one likes to fix and tinker, not gamble. Zagar says, I honestly think the chick's gonna win. Although that Fuzz guy might end up winning. He looks pretty strong. Kind of like him. He points at Crom.
Just look at them. What?
I really want to know, did Drist hear that?
Dritz is too into getting the crowd pumped. He's not paying attention.
I would have loved to have seen his reaction to Fuzz Guy.
So, Dungeon Master, one question.
Yeah.
So, Scotty, one question.
Yeah.
What are the rules of engagement? Basically, I'm assuming with any fight pit, I'm assuming a low blow is a no-go.
In this particular instance, the only no-goes are deadly weapons.
Oh.
It's a pirate den.
Yeah. You
okay,
can't.
Then.
Yeah, you just can't bring in the deadly weapons. If somebody dies, somebody dies. But just no deadly weapons. That is the only caveat.
All right.
I'm going to go take my seat.
All right. So
Yes,
everybody
sir.
goes, takes a seat, and that is actually going to be around the time that you're going to kind of hear like a bell that signals that the fight's going to begin. So, let's see. Large display boxes above the cage will flash a timer that's getting ready to basically start the countdown. Both Drist and Freya are going to get into the cage where basically the doors are shut and then they end up getting locked. At that point, Nina's out there. You can see she's a little antsy. You hear her just, dang, Ferric! Like, she's not happy. So a probe droid that appears to have been modified to be a referee kind of hovers above the combatants, about a good meter and a half. And then the crowd is going to erupt and cheer as the buzzer signaling the match goes off. Freya tosses up her fists and seems to wait for the towering Wookiee to approach her. which he does very quickly. Drist pulls his arms back, getting ready for a swing, but Freya does a really hard jab right into the abdomen, actually slightly stunning the Wookiee. Not discouraged by this, Drist continues with a response by taking a hard swing at the young woman. But the punch is easily readable from a kilometer away, allowing Freya to do like a tuck roll off to the side. Drist looks around slightly confused, but without wasting time, Freya drives her fist as hard as she can into the back of the Wookiee's knee. And then Nina, watching it, you can tell she's got like super anxiety, but she's kind of nodding like, do it. Like, if you're going to do it, you're in it now kind of thing. Drist seems to get angry. In fact, the Wookiee seems to become enraged. To think a human is getting the better of someone so strong. With a loud roar that silences the entirety of the Sendin, it becomes super quiet. You can hear a cricket fart. Then suddenly the crowd just roars into a deafening cheer. However, Freya is wasting no time into basically just jumping on this dude. She literally leaps onto the Wookiee's back, and very audible to the very front row, you can hear Nina yell, "Carabas, don't do that!" And then Drist actually does seem to be caught off guard by this, but he wastes no time into reacting, and he's like starting to kind of like go back to grab her to like throw her off. Fred starts grunting, and you guys can actually hear her say, "Okay, big guy, suns are getting real low," and she just takes her elbow and just drives it as hard as she can into the Wookiee's temple, which actually seems to slightly stun him and throw him off balance. But Drist seems like since he can't reach her and all that stuff, he gets very aggravated and basically just kind of runs backwards and slams her right into the cage and kind of repeatedly does so as she's trying to, like, punch him out while he's basically trying to get her off his back. Finally, there's another hard blow that basically just kind of drops her down, and she's stunned. She's like, you can kind of see that she's not completely there, not completely cognitive. The crowd's going to just go into this delightful cheer as everybody's going on. People are starting to make side bets and things like that. And then as you guys kind of look above the cage, you're going to notice that there's 30 seconds that have already sped by. The combatants, for the combatants, it must feel like an eternity. Freya pulls herself up off the ground. Let's see. I seem to miss something there. It doesn't matter. As the Wookiee ends up kind of going and like tackles her, picks her up off of the ground, and like it looks like he's gonna like slam her, but she actually kind of like rolls and gets right back onto his back. As you guys hear Nina, "Stupid moof milker, get off his back!" As she basically kind of starts doing the same things, like Rue's starting to like knock him down and everything else, and he goes right back to like instead of like in the same spot, starts basically kind of running to one side of the cage and then turning and slamming his back into it. And she ends up getting slammed right into the side where Nina is. And she starts sliding down, and you can definitely kind of see that she's busted up some. Looks like some black eyes, and she's got some bruises and some cuts and things like that. The pro droid is going to come over and scan to see if she's conscious or not. But halfway through that scan, Freya's going to stand up and kind of like shoo the droid away. And as Drist is kind of over there beating on his chest and screaming and hollering at the crowd, Freya's going to stand up. Let's see. And yay. "Hey, oversized dust bunny." And then Nina's gonna facepalm. And the Wookiee's gonna kind of turn his head slowly, and she says, "Yeah, we're not done here." And she's gonna spit, get some blood on there. She's gonna kind of pop up her arms again, and Nina's gonna yell, "Stop that! You're making him more angry." And then Freya just kind of nods and smirks, and she goes, "That's the idea."
Can I?
Huh?
I just want to yell out into the crowd, Drist, don't let her spoil you.
Get out of this, old man.
Shut up, kid. Or I'll throw you into the ring myself.
You disqualify him for doing that.
Actually, that might
I don't know.
disqualify. I don't know. All right. So Freya
Let's find out.
shouts. Yep. Freya shouts out that that's the ideal as Drist comes at her with his arms like completely wide open to try to grapple. But Freya moves forward to gain just enough momentum to slide under his legs, and then she kind of slings a kick back and then kicks him right in the middle of the back, kind of causing the Wookiee to stumble forward. And then she stands up, just turns around, grabs her with one arm, and slams her into the ground and just kind of starts punching on her. He pulls her back up, and then he goes to try to swing her away, throw her. But Freya is actually quick enough that she takes an elbow and drives it into the soft part of the elbow, causes him to drop her. She Drist ends up trying to grab her again. Nina kind of falls back into the cage and says, "Dang, Ferric, he's tough." And Nina just says, "I told you." Kind of almost sounds proud. And then she says, just please don't die." Then Freya turns her head to Nina, smiles moments before Drist reaches at her and pulls her right into the air, lifting her up over the head. Freya seems to react on instinct as she tosses an elbow down into the Wookiee's face, causes him enough stun that he kind of drops her and grabs at his face. And then she kind of backs up a little bit and gets like this really tight defensive stance. The crowd is going to slowly begin to boo as you look up, and the timer's starting to get rapid fast. At this point, it seems like now she's baiting the Wookiee as he's kind of running at her, and she's able to kind of dodge out of the way, move. She's keeping as far a distance from him as possible. Finally, she kind of gets to, she kind of gets back into a corner, not realizing it. And the Wookiee is going to get like so super angry that Crom can definitely attest that he is not holding back at all. As Drist runs with his arm back and goes to punch, as she kind of drops, Tuck rolls away, and he puts his arm right straight through the metal cage. Then she stands up, she backs up, still keeps her defenses up. You can definitely tell she's got cuts and bruises there, wearing all that stuff. And Wookiee tries to pull his arm out, gets a foot up on there, starts rattling the side of the cage as the timer basically kind of ticks down, and the buzzer goes off, and Nina just goes, oh, big sigh of relief. And Freya just kind of throws her arms up and starts like backing up. There are people that are pissed. There are people that are crying. There are people that are cheering. Zoe and Richard are extremely rich at this point. Crom's better off now. All right, so yep, she seems to survive all this stuff. So basically, the Wookiee eventually will get his arm free with help for the droid, and it seems like it's been enough time to kind of calm him down. Freya kind of more or less stumbles out, and she's looking around. You can tell she is a stiff breeze could probably knock her out. I mean, she is like staggering things that Nina's going to kind of take her. People are trying to throw stuff like, at her and everything else. There's actually a little bit of like droid security that's kind of hushing everybody down. Drist actually comes out of his side of the cage looking very defeated, very upset. Like, this little small human woman just beat me. He just kind of goes down, and there's people that are like trying to pat on him and things that like, it's okay, it's okay. So, yep. All right. So, Richard, you know that you have waiting for you 75,500 credits waiting for you. And then Zoe has 37,500.
So that was 75,500.
Yep.
I got 37 what now?
37,500 credits.
Okay.
You are possibly the only two. Well, Freya obviously bet on herself, but you are some of the few people that have actually bet on her.
37.
Yeah.
Wait, 37,500.
Yes.
So did he ever make it down there?
Who? Oh, Ranex?
yeah.
No, you didn't get to see him.
Damn.
Yeah.
I wanted to look at him and go, told you.
But yeah, no, he didn't get to make it down. Chances are, though, much like with you on your ship, he's got that kind of stuff. The probe droid probably sends back signals. He's probably got cameras and things. Like he has
I can
seen
just
the
about
fight.
guarantee he was watching the fight through the ref.
Absolutely. Yeah, at this point, Zagar is gonna be like, I knew she'd win. Adamok is like, I kind of wanted to bet on her, but I wasn't really sure. Jada's like, it could have went the other way. Like, don't even.
So Zoe's going to reach a fist out if she can to Freya at all.
Oh,
Well done.
fist bump?
Yes.
Yeah. At this point, there's actually a droid that seems like it's coming over to offer medical aid, but Freya will just kind of put a fist up and lightly bump you. She says, "Hope you bet on me, because I told you I was gonna win." Nina's gonna be like,
"You made me a rich woman."
Yeah. She's like, "You're welcome." Nina's like, "You crazy SOB." She says. She just kind of shrugs her shoulder and says, "Hey," she says, "It's gotta take risks."
Wouldn't she technically be a DOB?
Technically, yeah, but still, same phrasing.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at Nina and go, well, that more than covers the rescue.
Nina will kind of take there for a moment and then like start snickering and then start laughing, going, "Yeah, actually that does." And then Freya goes, "Hey," she says, "if I did my math right," she goes, "we have about like I don't even remember. I want to say it's like 300,000." Freya goes, "What?" She says, "I told you I was betting and all." She goes, "That was almost your life savings." She goes, "Hey, I got it." And more. She's like, "Oh my God." She goes, "I have seen you do some reckless things throughout your life, but I cannot believe it."
I only
How
made
much of that did we
75.
hear?
What'd you say?
How much of that did we hear?
Oh, you guys are probably, I assume since you fist bumped, you guys are over there talking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the droid is going to basically kind of shoot her up with like a Bacta mixture and things of that and kind of offer minor medical aid as she's just more or less kind of sitting there. So
I'm gonna look at Freya and go, man, I only made 75,000.
Hey, she goes, that's something. She says, you should have bet more.
37.5.
Hey, that's not bad, she says.
I honestly bet half of what I had.
Should have bet it all. I did.
Well, you see, I already owe that one a lot of money.
Well, you could have paid that one off, she says, if you would have bet it all.
She technically can right now, but
yeah.
She literally could.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just spent the few credits I had. I lost. Okay.
That's all right.
So, Richard.
What?
I owe you 5K. Take that out of my debt. So essentially, when we collect our money, I'm subtracting 5K from what I got.
That's fine. It's your guys' credit. You spend it as you see fit. So
and at some point, Zoe's gonna have to pay Richard. So why not?
Might as well do it now and get it over with. I
Yep.
agree. Totally agree.
Not all of it.
Oh, I know,
So-
but I'm just saying, you just pay it off and pay what you can or whatever. If you could pay, if it were me, I'd pay just completely pay it off. But that's me.
You know what? Fuck. Bump it.
I'm about halfway to the ship.
Okay.
I'm not paying that right now.
Yeah, no, I got you. Okay, so yeah, basically all this stuff's kind of going on. Now with the fight kind of having happened, everything's going down, everything's like that. Richard, have you put any time into thinking about the offer?
I was planning on talking with the crew, but I
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
exactly
Yeah.
want to do that out in the open.
Oh, I don't blame you. I don't blame. So,
As
alrighty then.
So-
So, I'm thinking then we can actually, for a very rare instance in Dice Dorks in Danger, actually stop on a high note. Most of the time, it seems like it's been kind of on a bloop kind of thing. So
All right.
we're gonna go ahead and just call it there. Kind of give you guys time to think about what you want to do. And I have to ask. I know there's a lot more exposition in this one, but did you guys have fun?
Oh yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, loads of fun.
Good. Yeah, this is probably one of the more heavy story that I've actually done. Normally, I try to keep it to you guys and things but this one was kind of a. For those watching, this was technically the start of like. Yeah, this was like supposed to be the prequel or the prologue was only supposed to be like 1 or 2, and then we're supposed to jump into this, but oh well.
The dice had other
Yeah.
plans.
The dice had other plans, and sometimes you're just gonna have that. And I may or may not have told you guys before. I believe I had. And for those watching, this basically is going to be one module. I will now go to how character points usually are given, which will be at the end of the module. So for you guys, take note of what you have used skill wise, because at the end of the module, when you get your character points, you can actually still bump those up. Okay.
Yeah.
But for right now, no character points. Once we get past the PowerPoint station thing, you guys will get that. So, but yeah, I'm glad to hear that you guys had fun. Was there anything you guys want to kind of toss in or add or?
Before I forget, because I want to try and get this. If we go back to the ship, I'm going to ask Jada if I can borrow a few droid parts.
Yeah, sure.
oh
no.
Harry, willpower.
So, yeah, I really don't think I have anything too much to add. And if you guys don't, I'm gonna say, may the dork be with you always. Have a good night, everybody. Catch you next week.
Good night.